Adémar de Chabannes was an 11th-century French monk, a historian, a musical composer and a successful literary forger. Life. Adémar was born at Chabannes, a village in today's Haute-Vienne département of France. Educated at the Abbey St. de Limoges, he passed his life as a monk, both there and at the monastery of St. Sybard at Angoulême. Adémar died around 1034, most probably at Jerusalem, where he had gone on a pilgrimage. Writings. When Adémar joined the Abbey St. Martial of Limoges, he was educated by his uncle Roger de Chabannes, cantor of the abbey between 1010 until his death in 1025. Adémar learnt calligraphy, to read, to compose and to notate liturgical chant, to compile and to revise liturgical books, and to compose and to write liturgical poetry, homilies, chronicles and hagiography. His life was mainly spent in writing and transcribing chant books and chronicles, and his principal work is a history entitled Chronicon Aquitanicum Francicum or Historia Francorum. This is in 3 books and deals with Frankish history from the fabulous reign of Pharamond, king of the Franks, to 1028. The first 2 books are scarcely more than a copy of earlier histories of Frankish kings, such as the Liber Historiae Francorum, the continuation of Fredegar and the Annales Regni Francorum. The third book, which deals with the period from 814 to 1028, is of considerable historical importance. It relies partly on the Chronicon Aquitanicum, to which Adémar himself added a final notice for the year 1028. Forgery. He embraced the developing tale that Saint Martial, the 3rd-century bishop who Christianized the Limoges district, had actually lived centuries earlier, and was in fact one of the original apostles, and he supplemented the less than scanty documentation for the alleged apostolicity of Martial, first with a forged life of Martial, as if composed by Martial's successor, Bishop Aurelian. To effect this claim, he composed an apostolic mass, that still exists in Adémar's own hand. The local bishop and abbot seem to have cooperated in the project, and the Mass was first sung on Sunday, August 3, 1029. Unfortunately for Adémar, the liturgy was disrupted by a traveling monk, Benedict Achusa, who denounced the improved Vita of Martial as a provincial forgery and the new liturgy as offensive to God. The word spread, and the promising young monk was disgraced. Adémar's reaction was to build forgery upon forgery, inventing a council of 1031 that confirmed the apostolic status of Martial, even a forged papal letter. The reality of this pathological tissue of forgeries was only unraveled in the 1920s by a historian, Louis Saltet. Mainstream Catholic historians ignored Saltet's revelations until the 1990s. In the long run, Adémar was successful. By the late 11th century, Martial was indeed venerated in Aquitaine as an apostle, though his legend was doubted elsewhere. In a very direct way, Adémar's Mass shows the power of liturgy to affect worship, works and legacy. Adémar composed his musical Mass in office according to the local school of his uncle Roger, who worked as a cantor between 1010 until his death in 1025 at St. Martial Abbey, using those modal patterns, as they have been documented in the tonaries of the new tropoproses, chant books to which Adémar had partly contributed as a notator. Concerning the apostolic feast of the patron, he composed as well the hymns as the music which had become the métier of a cantor at St. Martial. For this liturgical occasion which he had to create, he contributed like other cantors with own compositions, especially in the tropes. According to James Grier, professor of music history in the Don Wright Faculty of Music at the University of Western Ontario, Adémar was the first person to write music using the musical notation still in use today. He placed the musical notes above the text, higher or lower according to the pitch, Professor Grier states that placement on the vertical axis remains the standard convention for indicating pitch in notation in Western culture, and there is far greater weight on pitch than on many other elements such as dynamics and timbre. Therefore, in discovering this document written around 1,000 years in the past, Professor Grier turns Ad acute Mar in one of the first, if not the first, to write music using modern notation.